December 15th, 2025. I didn't plan to write this today, but something inside me wouldn't let the day pass without speaking to you. I feel like if I stay quiet any longer, I'll lose the chance to tell you what's been living in my heart. So I'm talking to you now, softly, honestly, like you're right here with me, listening. There's something I need you to know. Something I've carried quietly for a long time. Every time I thought about saying it, my heart slowed down. Not because I was afraid, but because I wanted to say it the right way. And today feels right. Today feels like the day my heart decided it can't hold this alone anymore. I don't know when you started becoming this important to me. It didn't happen all at once. It happened slowly, in small moments, in thoughts that stayed longer than they should have. One day I realized you weren't just passing through my mind anymore. You were settling there. You were becoming familiar, comfortable, necessary, and that realization changed the way I felt about everything. I started measuring my days differently. I started noticing silence more. I started wishing you were closer, even when I didn't fully understand why. And now here I am, writing to you, knowing that what I feel isn't temporary, isn't confused, isn't accidental. There's something very real about the way you exist in my heart. It's calm, but it's deep. It doesn't rush me, but it stays with me. When I think about you, I don't feel chaos. I feel clarity. And that surprised me because strong feelings are usually loud, but this one is steady. It doesn't ask for attention. It simply waits to be acknowledged. And that's why I'm here today, giving it a voice, letting it breathe, letting it reach you. I want you to know that when I say I care about you, I don't mean it lightly. I mean it in the quiet way, in the way that shows up when nothing exciting is happening, in the way that stays when things feel uncertain. I mean it in the way that makes me think about how my words affect you, how my presence feels to you, how my absence might leave a space. You matter to me in ways that go beyond attraction or curiosity. You matter to me in the way someone matters, when you start imagining life with them included, not as a dream, but as a possibility. Sometimes I wonder if you can feel this connection too. Not in a dramatic way, but in those subtle moments when something pulls your attention back to me. A thought, a pause, a quiet question in your mind. I wonder if you ever feel that gentle tension, that sense that something meaningful is unfolding slowly, without rushing, because that's how it feels to me. Like something is growing in its own time, asking to be respected, not forced. I've learned something about myself through loving you like this. I've learned that real feelings don't demand, they don't pressure, they don't arrive with conditions. They arrive with patience, with understanding, with a willingness to wait without resentment. And that's where I am with you. I'm not here to take anything from you. I'm here to offer something honest, something steady, something that doesn't disappear when things get quiet. There are moments when I imagine sitting across from you, not talking, just sharing space. And in that silence, I imagine feeling close to you, without needing to explain why. That's the kind of closeness I want. Not one built on constant reassurance, but on mutual understanding. I don't want to impress you. I want to be real with you. I want you to feel like you don't have to perform when you're with me, like you can just be yourself. And that will always be enough. I need you to know that this letter isn't about expecting something from you. It's about telling you something you deserve to hear. You are seen, you are valued, you are appreciated more deeply than you might realize. And not because of what you give, but because of who you are, the way you carry yourself, the way your presence lingers, the way your energy stays with me, even when you're not around. That kind of impact doesn't happen by accident. There's a part of me that hesitated before writing this. Not because I doubted my feelings, but because I didn't want to overwhelm you. I didn't want my honesty to feel heavy. But then I realized that withholding truth can sometimes feel heavier than sharing it. So I chose to trust you. I chose to trust that you can hear this without feeling pressured, that you can feel this without needing to decide anything right now. This is not a demand, it's a confession. I think about the future sometimes, not in detailed plans, but in feelings. How I'd want things to feel if you were there. Calm, supportive, real. I imagine conversations that don't rush to conclusions. I imagine understanding that grows over time. I imagine laughter that feels easy and silence that feels safe. And when I imagine those things, you're there naturally, not forced into the picture. That tells me everything I need to know about how deeply you've settled into my heart. If you're listening to this and wondering what I'm really saying, I'll say it simply. I care about you deeply. I feel something real for you, and I wanted you to hear it directly from me. Not through hints, not through distance, not through silence. I wanted you to hear it in a way that feels gentle, respectful, and honest. Because that's how I feel about you. I don't need you to respond right away. I don't need answers today. I just want you to sit with this, to let it settle, to feel whatever comes up for you, without rushing to define it. Whatever you feel is okay. Curiosity, warmth, uncertainty. All of it is welcome here. There's no wrong reaction. There's only honesty. This letter doesn't close anything. It opens something, a space, a conversation, a possibility, and I'm comfortable leaving it open. I'm comfortable staying right here, in this moment where feelings are acknowledged but not rushed, where truth is shared but not demanded, where connection is allowed to grow at its own pace. So on this day, December 15th, 2025, I wanted you to know that someone is thinking about you with sincerity. Someone is holding space for you with care. Someone is choosing honesty over silence. And that someone is me. I'm not stepping away after this. I'm not disappearing into the quiet. I'm staying present, open and patient, allowing whatever comes next to unfold naturally, without pressure, without fear, without closing the door on what could still be said. I'm still here with you, still letting this moment stretch a little longer, because once I opened my heart, it didn't want to stop speaking. There are some feelings that don't finish in one breath, and this is one of them. I feel like if I stop now, something important will remain unsaid. So I'm staying with you, letting my words move slowly, the way my heart has been moving toward you all this time. I want you to know that when I think about you, I don't feel confusion. I feel direction. Not a plan written in stone, but a sense of where my heart naturally leans. It leans toward you without effort, without force, without me needing to convince myself. And that's how I know this isn't imagination or loneliness speaking. This is recognition. This is my heart noticing something familiar in you, something that feels like it belongs in my life, in a way that's calm and lasting. There are nights when everything is quiet, and the world finally stops asking things from me. Those are the moments when your presence becomes the clearest, not as a face or a voice, but as a feeling, a warmth, a thought that doesn't interrupt my peace, but adds to it. And that's rare. Most thoughts disturb silence. Yours settles into it. Yours feels like it fits there, and every time that happens, I feel closer to you without even moving. I've been careful with this feeling because I respect it. I respect you. I don't want to rush words that carry weight. I don't want to promise things before I understand them fully. What I know right now is this. I care about you in a way that makes me more patient, more thoughtful, more aware of how my actions might affect someone else's heart. That alone tells me this is something real, because real feelings don't just make you want, they make you careful. I sometimes imagine you reading or listening to this and wondering why I chose today to speak. And the truth is, there isn't a dramatic reason. Nothing big happened. No sudden event pushed me here. It was the quiet accumulation of moments. The way you stayed in my thoughts, longer than expected. The way my heart reacted to the idea of losing the chance to be honest with you. I realized that waiting too long to speak can sometimes become its own kind of regret, and I didn't want that. Not with you. There's something else I want you to understand. I'm not offering you a perfect version of myself. I'm offering you a real one. Someone who feels deeply but thinks carefully. Someone who values connection more than control. Someone who would rather build something slowly than rush into something fragile. I don't need to impress you with big gestures. I'd rather show up consistently, in ways that matter quietly. When I imagine you beside me, I don't imagine perfection. I imagine honesty. I imagine conversations that don't always have answers, but still feel safe. I imagine disagreements that don't turn into distance. I imagine choosing each other even on ordinary days, not just emotional ones. And those imaginings feel grounded, not idealized. That's how I know they come from something solid. I wonder sometimes what you've been through. What parts of you have had to grow strong too early? What parts of you still carry questions? And when I think about that, my feelings for you soften even more, because I don't want to be another voice telling you who to be. I want to be a presence that allows you to rest, to breathe, to exist without explanation. That matters to me more than being chosen quickly. You don't have to prove anything to me. You don't have to rush your emotions to match mine. I'm not measuring you against expectations. I'm meeting you where you are, and where you are feels enough right now. As you are, without change, without pressure. There's a quiet strength in letting things unfold naturally. In trusting that if something is meant to deepen, it will. And that's the approach I'm taking with you. I'm not pulling you closer. I'm standing still and letting you decide how near you want to be. That's respect, and respect is where real connection begins. Sometimes I think about how this letter might change things. Not dramatically, but subtly. Maybe it will make you look at me a little differently. Maybe it will sit with you for a while, coming back to your mind when you least expect it. And that's okay. I'm not asking it to do anything specific. I'm just letting it exist, the way my feelings exist. Honestly, without instructions. I want you to feel free after hearing this. Not obligated. Free to feel whatever comes naturally. Free to take your time. Free to stay curious. Freedom is important to me. Because love that limits you isn't love. Love should expand you, not confine you. And if I ever become part of your life in a deeper way, I want it to feel like space opening up, not closing in. I'm aware that words like these can feel heavy if they're not handled gently. That's why I keep my voice soft. That's why I don't rush toward conclusions. I want you to feel the care behind every sentence. I want you to know that this is coming from a place of calm sincerity, not emotional urgency. I'm not trying to anchor you to a future you're not ready to imagine. I'm simply sharing where my heart is right now, and where my heart is right now feels steady. When it thinks of you, it feels open, it feels willing. That doesn't mean I expect certainty in return. It just means I'm being truthful about my side of this connection. You deserve that honesty. You deserve to know when someone feels something genuine for you. Even if the story is still being written, there's no ending to this letter, because there's no ending to what I'm feeling yet. It's still unfolding, still finding its shape, still learning how to exist between us. and I don't want to close it prematurely. I want to leave space for your thoughts, your feelings, your timing. I keep feeling like this date has weight, like it will matter to me long after today passes. Because it's the day I stopped hiding what my heart already knew. And as I continue speaking to you, I realize this isn't just a letter anymore. It's a conversation I've been rehearsing silently for a long time. One where I don't interrupt you, don't rush you, don't try to shape your response. I just speak honestly and trust that you'll hear what you're meant to hear. There's something very grounding about that trust. It makes my voice softer, my thoughts clearer, my intentions calmer. I want you to understand that what I feel for you didn't grow out of fantasy. It grew out of noticing the way you exist, the way your presence feels even from a distance, the way your energy lingers without demanding attention. I didn't fall for an idea of you. I grew attached to the reality of how you made me feel without trying. That's rare. And when something rare appears in your life, you don't rush it and you don't treat it casually. You protect it. You approach it with care. That's what I've been doing, even when you didn't see it. There were moments when I almost spoke sooner. Moments when my heart leaned forward, ready to say everything at once. But I held back. Not because I was unsure, but because timing matters. Feelings are fragile when they're shared too early or too loudly. I wanted mine to arrive gently, like this, without startling you, without making you feel like you had to respond immediately. I wanted my honesty to feel like an open door, not a spotlight. Sometimes I imagine how this might land in your heart. Maybe it feels warm. Maybe it feels confusing. Maybe it brings a quiet smile. Or maybe it makes you pause longer than you expected. Whatever it brings, I want you to know that it's welcome. You don't owe me a specific emotion. You don't owe me reassurance. Your experience of this matters just as much as mine, and I'm not here to overpower it with expectations. I think a lot about emotional safety, about how rare it is to feel truly safe being yourself with someone. And when I think about you, that's what I want to offer more than anything else. A place where you don't have to explain your silences. A place where your thoughts don't have to be organized to be respected. A place where you can change your mind without fear of disappointing someone. That's the kind of connection I value. That's the kind I hope we're building, even now, just by speaking honestly. I've learned that love doesn't always announce itself with intensity. Sometimes it arrives as consistency, as calm interest, as a steady pull that doesn't fade when distractions appear. That's how this has felt with you. No dramatic highs and lows. Just a constant presence in my thoughts that feels natural, like it belongs there. And when something belongs, you don't question it every day. You just live with it, acknowledging its place in your life. I want to tell you something that feels important. I'm not afraid of where this could go. I'm also not afraid if it takes time to understand where it's going. Both feel okay to me because I'm not chasing a result. I'm honoring a connection. And connections don't respond well to pressure. They respond to patience, to listening, to space. I'm willing to give all of that without resentment, without counting days, without turning waiting into a burden. There's a certain honesty that only comes when you stop trying to control the outcome. And that's where I am now. I'm not steering this toward a specific ending. I'm allowing it to exist as it is, trusting that clarity will come when it's meant to. I don't need certainty right now. I need sincerity, and that's what I'm offering you in every word. You might be wondering what this changes between us, and the truth is, it doesn't force change. It simply invites awareness. Awareness that something meaningful is present. Awareness that there's depth here that deserves respect. What happens after that? doesn't need to be decided today. Awareness alone is enough for now. It allows things to grow naturally, without pressure, without fear of moving too fast or too slow. I often think about how connections deepen, not through grand declarations, but through shared understanding over time, through moments of honesty, through quiet consistency. That's what I want to give you. Not a rush of emotion that fades, but a steady presence that stays. I want you to feel that if you lean toward me, you won't fall into chaos. You'll meet steadiness. You'll meet patience. You'll meet someone who listens before speaking. There's something freeing about admitting how you feel without asking for anything in return. It removes fear from the equation. And right now, I don't feel afraid. I feel open. I feel grounded. I feel like I've done the right thing by telling you the truth instead of carrying it silently. Whatever comes next, I'll know that I honored my feelings and respected yours. I'm aware that sometimes silence can be misread. That's why I wanted to speak. Not to fill space, but to clarify it. I didn't want you to ever wonder where I stand, or whether my interest was shallow or temporary. It's neither. It's thoughtful. It's intentional. It's rooted in respect for who you are and how you move through the world. If you need time after this, take it. If you need distance, I'll respect it. If you need to sit quietly with what you've heard, that's completely okay. I'm not measuring your response against expectations. I'm simply allowing you to have your own process. That matters to me. Your comfort matters to me. I keep coming back to this idea of choice. Not forced choice, not rushed choice, but conscious choice. And I want you to know that whatever you choose, it will be respected here. There's no hidden demand behind these words. There's no emotional debt being created. This is me sharing something real and then stepping back enough to let you decide what it means to you. And as I sit with that, I realize how peaceful that feels. To speak without gripping, to care without controlling, to hope without pressuring. That peace tells me I'm approaching this in the right way, because love that's meant to be healthy feels like this. Calm, open, patient. So I remain here on this same day, in this same moment, still speaking because the connection hasn't finished revealing itself yet. I'm not closing this letter. I'm not tying it into a conclusion. I'm leaving it open. Just like my heart is open, open to your thoughts, open to your timing, open to whatever unfolds next, whether it's spoken quickly or understood slowly. December 15th, 2025. I notice how even after saying so much, there's still more inside me, like my heart keeps opening new rooms the longer I stay honest with you. I didn't expect that. I thought speaking would empty me, but instead it's doing the opposite. It's making me more aware of how deeply this feeling lives in me, how it doesn't rush toward conclusions, how it simply wants to exist truthfully. And as I keep talking to you, I realize I'm not trying to reach a final point. I'm letting you hear the process. I'm letting you feel how slowly and carefully my heart has been moving toward you. There's something comforting about knowing you don't have to be ready for everything I'm saying. You don't have to catch every word and decide what it means right away. You can let it wash over you gently, like background music. You don't analyze but still feel. That's how I want this to be for you. Not a weight, not a demand, just a presence. Because presence, when it's sincere, can be incredibly powerful. I keep thinking about how connections change us quietly. Not overnight, not dramatically, but in the way we start making room for someone without realizing it. I've made room for you. In my thoughts, in my patience, in the way I pause before speaking, in the way I imagine future moments without forcing them into shape. That kind of change doesn't happen accidentally. It happens when someone matters enough to be considered even in silence. I want to tell you something very simple, even though it carries depth. I like the way you exist. I like the way you feel to think about. I like the calm that comes with imagining you nearby. It doesn't feel like excitement that burns fast. It feels like something that could stay. And that matters to me more than intensity. Intensity fades. Steadiness remains. There are moments when I wonder what you see when you think of me. And I hope, more than anything, that you don't feel pressure. I hope you feel curiosity. I hope you feel warmth. I hope you feel like you're allowed to take your time with me. Because I'm taking my time with you, even while speaking honestly. I'm not in a hurry to arrive anywhere specific. I'm more interested in how we move, how we listen, how we respect each other's pace. I've learned that real affection doesn't interrupt your life. It blends into it. It adapts. It becomes part of your rhythm instead of disrupting it. That's what I want to be for you. Not something you have to rearrange everything for, but something that fits naturally if you choose to let it. Something that feels like an addition, not a complication. Sometimes I think about how easy it is to misunderstand vulnerability. People often think it's about exposing everything all at once, but this is vulnerability too. Speaking gently, leaving space, not demanding reassurance. Trusting that the other person will handle your honesty with care. I'm trusting you right now. Trusting that you'll feel the respect in my words, even if you don't yet know what to do with them. I don't know what your heart has been carrying lately. I don't know what questions live there, or what doubts pass through. But I want you to know that nothing you feel would make me pull away. Confusion doesn't scare me. Hesitation doesn't offend me. Silence doesn't threaten me, because I'm not here to control the outcome. I'm here to honor the connection. There's a quiet courage in choosing not to rush someone you care about, in letting them arrive at their feelings without interference. That courage feels right to me. It feels aligned with the kind of love I want to give. A love that listens more than it speaks. A love that watches carefully, not possessively. A love that understands that timing is part of trust. I imagine moments that haven't happened yet, but not in a way that traps me in expectation. I imagine them softly, like possibilities floating nearby. A shared smile, a comfortable silence, a moment of understanding without explanation. And when I imagine those things, I don't feel urgency. I feel patience. That's how I know these imaginings come from something grounded. I want you to feel free to lean back from this if you need to. Free to sit with it. Free to question it. Free to take distance without guilt. Nothing about what I'm saying requires immediate closeness. It simply offers openness. And openness is something you can approach at your own pace. I've realized that love doesn't always ask for an answer. Sometimes it just asks to be acknowledged. And that's what I'm doing now. Acknowledging what's real inside me instead of pretending it doesn't exist. I'm not asking you to mirror it. I'm not asking you to promise anything. I'm just allowing you to see me clearly, without masks, without strategy. If you ever wonder whether this will change how I treat you, the answer is no. I'll remain the same, respectful, attentive, calm, because my feelings don't make me want to claim you. They make me want to care for the space between us. They make me more mindful, not more demanding. There's something deeply human about letting a connection stay unfinished, about not forcing a definition before it's ready. That unfinished quality doesn't mean uncertainty, it means possibility. And possibility feels alive. I don't want to rush past that. I want to sit in it with you, even if you're sitting in it quietly on your own. I know this letter keeps going, but that's because what I'm sharing isn't a statement. It's a flow. It's not meant to stop suddenly. It's meant to breathe. And as long as it breathes, I'll stay with it. I'll keep my voice gentle. I'll keep my intentions clear. I'll keep leaving room for you to enter this space in whatever way feels right to you. So I'm still here, still speaking, still choosing honesty over silence. Not because I need something from you, but because I respect you enough to be real. And whatever you do with that truth, however you hold it, I trust that you'll do so in your own time, in your own way. And I'll remain open to that, present in it, without closing the door on what hasn't yet found its shape. I'm still sitting with this feeling, still letting it move through me without trying to control where it goes. It's strange how honesty does that. It doesn't end things, it expands them. The more I allow myself to speak to you like this, the more I understand that what I'm sharing isn't a moment. It's a state of being. It's how my heart has learned to exist when your presence becomes part of its rhythm. And I want you to know that nothing about this feels rushed or reckless to me. It feels considered. It feels intentional. It feels like something I'm choosing again each time I speak your presence into this space. There's a tenderness that comes with caring this way, a kind of awareness that makes me softer in how I think, how I listen, how I imagine. I find myself slowing down more often, not because I'm unsure, but because I want to move carefully around something valuable. You've become that kind of value to me, not in a way that demands protection, but in a way that inspires care. I don't want to step too fast or speak too loudly and disturb what feels natural. I want to walk beside it, matching its pace. I think about how rare it is to feel comfortable leaving things undefined. Most people rush to label feelings so they can feel safe. But safety doesn't always come from certainty. Sometimes it comes from trust. And I trust this connection enough to let it stay open, to let it breathe without being named too soon. I trust you enough to believe that whatever clarity comes will come honestly, not because it was pushed into place. There are moments when I imagine you wondering why I keep talking, why I don't just stop after saying I care about you. And the truth is, caring isn't a single sentence. It's layers. It's nuances. It's the small things that don't fit neatly into simple words. I keep speaking because each layer matters. Because I don't want you to only hear the surface of what I feel. I want you to feel the depth without being overwhelmed by it. I want you to know that I'm not waiting for you to change. I'm not waiting for you to become someone else. I'm meeting you where you are. That's important to me. Because love that asks someone to transform before it can exist isn't love, it's expectation. What I feel for you doesn't come with conditions. It doesn't ask you to hurry or to prove yourself. It simply notices you, appreciates you, and makes space for you. Sometimes I wonder what you feel when you think about the future, whether it feels heavy or hopeful. And when I think about being part of that future, even in the smallest way, I want it to feel light for you. I don't want to be another decision that weighs you down. I want to be something that feels like relief, like understanding, like a quiet place you can return to when the world feels too loud. I've learned that the most meaningful connections don't need constant reassurance. They don't need dramatic declarations every day. They're built on consistency, on knowing that someone is there, even when nothing is being said. That's the kind of presence I want to offer you. One that doesn't disappear when the conversation pauses. One that doesn't fade when attention shifts elsewhere. One that stays steady, even in silence. There's something very human about allowing yourself to be seen without knowing how you'll be received. And that's what I'm doing right now. I'm letting you see my heart without trying to manage your reaction. I'm trusting you with something real, not because I expect something back, but because honesty matters to me. Because pretending indifference would be easier, but it wouldn't be true. I think about how connection often grows in the in-between moments. Not in the big conversations, but in the spaces between them. The pauses, the quiet understanding, the feeling of being held in someone's thoughts, even when you're not present. That's where this lives for me, in the in-between. And I don't want to rush past that by forcing a conclusion. You might be listening to this and wondering where you fit into all of it. And I want you to know you fit exactly where you are. You don't need to step closer or farther away right now. You don't need to decide what this means. Your presence, your attention, your willingness to listen, that's already enough. I'm not measuring your response. I'm honoring your experience. There are days when I think about how different my life feels simply because you exist in it now. Not dramatically different, subtly different. Like the background tone has shifted. Like there's more softness in my thoughts, more patience in my reactions. And that tells me something important, that this feeling is shaping me in a good way. It's making me more present, more aware, more intentional. And anything that does that deserves respect. I don't know what you'll choose to do with these words. You might hold on to them quietly. You might question them. You might let them sit and see what happens. All of that is okay. There's no right way to receive something like this. There's only your way. And I trust you to know what feels right for you. I want you to feel free after hearing this. Free to move at your pace. Free to feel what you feel. Free to stay curious without committing to anything. Freedom matters to me. Because love without freedom isn't love. It's fear. And I don't want fear anywhere near this connection. As I continue speaking, I realize I'm not trying to convince you of anything. I'm simply letting you know where I stand. I'm standing in a place of openness, of patience, of quiet affection that doesn't need to be proven to be real. And I'll remain here regardless of how quickly or slowly you step into this space. This letter doesn't need an ending, because what I'm sharing isn't finished. It's still unfolding, still learning its shape, still finding its rhythm. And I don't want to rush it toward closure just to make it easier to understand. Some things are meant to stay open for a while,